Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. It's me, Waddles, and welcome back. A couple weeks ago, I made a video showcasing 10 decorative 1.14 wall designs. These were all designs that used one of the new 1.14 blocks in some way. Today, I bring you a sequel to that video in the form of floors. I've got 10 decorative 1.14 floor designs to pass off to you. Hopefully, you can use at least one of these designs in one of your builds. As always, if you enjoyed today's video, smash the like button, drop a sub, ring the bell, and I have a question for you. Waddles merch. Floor number 1 might look a little familiar to you if you were a fan of the Minecraft Guide series. I used a miniature version of this floor in my storage building recently. This floor is all smithing tables, that's it. Smithing tables have an interesting top texture that sort of looks like blue rocks. The edges get a little lighter, which creates this grid-like pattern. This floor is definitely dark. It would probably work best in a small section or with a lighter colored wall. I recommend trying this floor out in a storage building, an auto smelter building, or in a blacksmith building. Now, floor number 2 might look like spruce planks, but it is actually a storage floor. This is a floor made out of barrels. Barrels have a slightly different texture than spruce planks. On the left here, we have your standard spruce plank, and on the right, we have the barrel. Now, in color, the barrels and spruce planks are pretty much identical, but in pattern, they differ quite a bit. The bottom of barrels definitely create a whole lot more of a grid-like pattern, at least when compared to a spruce floor. Now, the trick to this floor is placing the barrels upside down. This is a little tricky, but you will need to basically make a temporary floor above your barrels, then go underneath your floor and place the barrels facing the ceiling. If you don't do it like this, it's not going to work. That means this floor design requires quite a bit more work than your standard floor, but you could use this to hide items if you're on like a server. Maybe you hide diamonds in a random barrel, and hopefully your friends will never find it. This floor design could work very well in a small setting or in a large setting. Moving right along to floor number 3, we have yet another interesting looking 1.14 block. This time, we have a floor made out of the top of blast furnaces. Like smithing tables, blast furnaces get a little brighter near their edges, and those lighter edges, again, help create a grid-like pattern. I think the blast furnace is an amazing looking block all around, so this floor really would work like anywhere. To me, the tones and textures on this floor almost look like a gray carpet flooring, and so I could see this floor working very well in like a house. Bonus points for being able to cook things in your floor, because that makes sense. Alright, so floor number 4 on this list was technically possible in Minecraft 1.13. However, it was only possible in creative mode in 1.13, and that's why I'm including it on this list. This floor is a simple checker or grid pattern with quartz blocks and smooth quartz blocks. Smooth quartz blocks lack a definitive edge. Normal quartz blocks, well, those don't, so when you pair these together, you get this really interesting, subtle grid pattern. If quartz blocks weren't so expensive, this would be one of my favorite checkered floors in all of Minecraft. No joke, I just love the color, the texture, everything about the quartz block. Now I have a few bonus floors that stem right off of this whole normal smooth floor checker pattern thing. Of course, in survival we now have access to smooth stone, and in survival we have access to smooth sandstone. So try checkering these blocks with their normal variants, and you might come up with something that looks pretty cool. As a little refresher, to get these smooth variants, smelt their normal variant up in a furnace. Sticking with the checkered pattern here for our next floor, this time we're combining two 1.14 blocks. We have the blast furnace and the smithing table. It creates a simple grid pattern. I think this floor works so well because of the common property that smithing tables and blast furnaces have. They both have that light around the edge look, which really creates an amazing looking tiled floor. Now be careful, this is a really busy pattern, so in a large scale format this might not work out too well. But in a smaller setting like what I have here, I think this floor looks quite nice. To get the most out of a strong checkered floor design like this though, you'll definitely need more simple walls. So if you're using this in your build, go simple on the wall, please. Like, don't do crazy patterns on the walls either, just something easy, and your whole build should look perfectly fine like that. It won't be lacking any detail whatsoever. Alright, so floor number 6 here has a few different options. Now this is clearly a scaffolding floor, it's just scaffolding everywhere. Now down below the scaffolding I have white concrete powder, and that white concrete powder helps brighten up the floor. You can really get a completely different vibe if you use like a darker block like black concrete, or even something more neutral like terracotta. So what I'm saying here is that you have a lot of options if you decide to use scaffolding as your flooring. Now scaffolding is very grid-like as well, and so for that reason, like with the other grid floors, you may not want this on too large of a scale, but this floor idea is really customizable. If you have like a dark evil build, put something darker underneath your scaffolding. If you have a bright and happy build, then maybe some lighter blocks. If you're really loaded, you could use quartz, that would look really nice as well, or you could use sand. If you're going for like a beach house, then a scaffolding floor with sand below it would look perfect. Now along the edges of the scaffolding, I'm using stripped oak logs because the colors blend really well together, I think. Now this floor is interesting though, because if you crouch on it, you're going to sink down into it a little bit. You'll be able to move around a little bit slower. So just know that about this floor, it's interesting. You can literally stand in it. A scaffolding floor like this could work very well in a variety of builds due to the possibilities of what you put below it. Try different blocks out and I'm sure you could get something to work. Now that I'm looking at it, lots of these floors have been grids, not intentional, but floor number 7 is another grid. This time we're using smooth stone and andesite. Andesite and smooth stone combine really well along their borders. Of course, this is happening because of the similarity in tones between andesite and stone, but in a larger setting, it almost looks like the smooth stone is like smooth andesite with how these colors actually end up connecting. It's another grid, so be careful about using it on too large of a build. Typically, strong grid patterns can look a little goofy in a larger setting, but that is floor number 7. Finally, floor number 8, not a grid. So the point of this floor is to showcase the similar tones on scaffolding, terracotta, and stripped jungle wood. Now remember the full scaffolding floor? Well, this floor showcases the whole color thing that I was talking about. I'm using black concrete underneath the scaffolding this time, and the stuff looks like really deep. Like to me, it almost looks like the scaffolding is like a vent on the floor, and there's like a far drop. You could definitely create a pattern or copy the pattern that I have here, or you could go with a little more randomization. If you go with that randomization option though, be careful with the scaffolding. Too much scaffolding in a randomized pattern might look a little weird. You could also use the scaffolding paired with black concrete along the edges of your builds to create like a vent or something like that. So, floor number 9, I imagine floor number 9 to be in a basement, in a dungeon, in somewhere down low and dark. This floor uses spruce wood and barrels. Barrels and spruce wood, of course, share pretty much the same colors. We already went over that. And, like we also already went over, the patterns aren't the same. So what you can do is use barrels as a way to break up an otherwise plain and boring spruce floor. You could try placing these barrels all the way around the edge of your room. That might look cool. You could try placing the barrels going the other direction through the middle of your room, so you have the lines going back and forth. It's really your call. In my opinion, I think these lines look best when they're all connected though. It makes an interesting looking track, almost like a rail cart could roll through here or something. Again, like the other barrel floor, you do have extra storage in this as well, so this might work well in a cramped storage room if you're tight on space. But like I said on the intro for this floor, I really think this would look amazing in like a basement, and I have this like stone wall down here. It just looks really kind of evil in a way, and I think an evil floor like this belongs in a dark and I guess evil area. And last but not least, we have this floor. Now, for the most part, this is just a normal floor. We have oak planks and stripped oak logs, but around the edges and some random spots, we have some vents. Looms work amazingly as vents. I've said it before, I will say it again. These things look so much like an actual air vent. Forget scaffolding, this is the way to go if you want a true vent. Now, if you are using this is going to work best in a house type build or a more real world type of build, and you'll probably want your vents over along the wall. Unfortunately, looms don't line up very well if you try and have them face each other, but if you happen to be okay with these lines not lining up, then you could totally do that as well, but that's a little too crazy looking for me. You could also use the front sides of looms up on walls as wall vents if you wanted to do that. It looks a little different, but it still could totally work. The coloring around the edge of the loom matches almost perfectly with oak logs, so your vent is going to look best if you have an oak floor, but it will definitely work if you happen to have, say, like a spruce floor or any other type of wooden floor. Doing a floor with these other colors, though, will make your vent stand out a little bit more. Be sure to place some decorations around in your room that look normal, like a computer desk, a random other desk, to help make it really clear as to what these looms sitting on the floor actually are. And so, with that, that is the 10 designs that I have for you. I hope you enjoyed these designs. Which design was your favorite? What's your idea of a creative 1.14 floor design? Definitely share some pictures of what you've come up with over on my subreddit r/waddles or tweet them at me. My Twitter is @itiswaddles. Check the description for all of my cool links like my Twitter and my Instagram where I repost memes, and if you love what I do, maybe consider becoming a patron or a channel member today. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Waddles. Those were 10 1.14 floor designs. I'll see you next time. Goodbye, everyone.